12:20 on my clock. So we're starting 5 minutes late, but I don't think we've got a whole lot of announcements. First of all, I have the flag. So I will stand and invite everyone to either stand or sit or kneel or sit or whatever they want to do and say the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America
and to the
republic for which it stands, one nation,
under God,
under God, indivisible,
with liberty
liberty, and justice for all.
And I usually add for all those that can afford it, because we know justice doesn't come cheap. Okay, now the next part is the four-way Rotary test. The Rotary test, the four-way test of the things we think, say, and do. First,
is it the truth?
The truth.
Very good. Second,
is it fair to all
concerned?
Very good. Third,
Will it build goodwill and better friendships?
Good. And number 4,
Will it be beneficial to all concerned?
Very good. Thank you very much. I'm
You're
impressed.
getting better, Fred.
That's good. That's good. That's good. I have it actually in my wall, so it's over there so I can read it.
And I think that was a mess up at the beginning of that, Fred, so that's a $20 fine.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll give you my credit card later.
All right.
Okay. Announcements.
I got a couple.
Okay.
I got a real exciting one for people that know him. We last weekend picked our governor for 23-24. And it's a friend of a lot of us from the Anaheim Hills Club, Roy Jefferson. So he's going to be our governor after Dan Uwellen in 23-24.
That's great. Roy's a great guy.
So we've been pushing him to do it quite a while here.
I think you had another
anyway,
announcement too.
The other thing is tomorrow night is, instead of a foundation dinner, we have a foundation Zoom meeting. And I was wrong. There's no cost to attend. All you got to do is go to rotary5320.org at 5:30 tomorrow night and click on the link that's there. You can register and just say you're not going to donate at this point. But if you want to donate to polio eradication or the annual fund, that would be appreciated. But you can be a part of the recognition of everything that happened during Dick Anderson's year that your club did in regard to foundation. So it's tomorrow night at 5:30. So that's my announcements. Plus my daughter and my sister online again, because we have a museum as one of our programs. So Kristen, my daughter, and Lonnie, my sister, who are both involved in music.
Welcome, Lonnie and Kristen. Thank you for coming. And I'd also like to welcome our speaker, Ida Jones. Who's that? Quinn and Talia. Jeez, I haven't seen you in a long time. Anne, is that you? Welcome. Anyway, I see Johnny's here. Pat Covell, Ann's partner, should be here shortly, and Richard Rubin's here. You need to put some pants on there, John, but anyway. Okay. All right. Now, let's see, announcements. Yeah, I have closed escrow on my house in Novato, and we won't be moving for a while because we have way too much stuff to pack up in a month or so. The last time, I think it took us 4 years to move. We bought the house in 2006. We finally moved in 2010. So I'm hoping to get moved a little quicker than 4 years, but it probably won't be less than 4 months at least, maybe 6. Anyway, so that's my announcement. Is there anybody else that? Gary, I know, is moving this weekend, right, to Idaho?
Yes, I am. The movers are showing up on 8 a.m. on Sunday, and we'll be on the road hopefully by 8 p.m. that night.
But Gary's Canadian, so he knows cold. So he should be in good shape, right, Gary?
Been a long time since I had to experience cold.
I think you'll be reminded of it very quickly.
Yes.
I grew up in Michigan. Anytime I see snow, I start to shiver. Anyway, all right. Does anyone else have any announcements? Hearing none, I will go to Richard to introduce our speaker on the Music Museum. Richard?
Thanks, Fred. So today I have the pleasure of introducing Ida Jones, who is with the Musical Instrument Museum in Phoenix. Ida has an extensive background in marketing destinations, museums, and attractions, both in Arizona and New York City. While in Arizona, Ida led tourism efforts for the Arizona Tourism Office, Lake Havasu City and Phoenix. She lived in Tucson for a while, where she was responsible for community outreach for Gannett Newspapers. Previously in New York City, she worked for the Museum of Jewish Heritage, a living memorial to the Holocaust, and the Intrepid Sea Air Space Museum. Since 2015, Ida has been with the Musical Instrument Museum in Phoenix. As group sales specialist, she's responsible for adult tour programs and community relations. Ida enjoys travel and has been to 6 continents, visiting over 50 countries, many multiple times. It's this passion for global travel, culture, and music that attracted Ida to MIM. Where else can you see, hear, and experience 200 countries without a passport and share that with others on a daily basis? It's a pleasure to introduce Ida Jones.
Well, thank you very much. And I am going to now try to share the presentation, so bear with me and hopefully this will work, okay? So I'm going to share the screen. And okay, this is where I have a little bit of a, from beginning. Okay. So we're really pleased that we reopened MIM during the summer, and we're welcoming guests back. Can you, oh, I'm sorry. I want to make sure.
We can hear you fine.
You can hear me fine. I want to make sure when I get to the share the computer sound for the video too. So hopefully you'll hear me okay for that. Okay, so we reopened the museum with health and safety measures, and to make sure that everybody has a meaningful and a safe experience. During the pandemic, this past 9 months, we've seen the impact of music on people's lives. We heard people who were singing from their balconies, who played music, concerts, and healthcare workers who took their time to sing and dance to make them feel safer and healthier and better. And it was a great way to relieve stress. So this movement of music is what has moved us at MIM, and it proves that music influences the way we share experiences. And MIM is part of that experience. In 10 years, MIM has become a top museum in the US, top attraction in Phoenix, and unique in the world of music. Okie dokie.
Music comes from deep in the heart, in every country, in every culture. It gives voice to the human spirit, expressing both joys and sorrows in a common language that knows no borders. Until now, no museum has celebrated this rich diversity of music in one place. The Musical Instrument Museum in Phoenix, Arizona is a museum like no other. Founded to bring together cultural musical traditions on a scale never seen before, MIM engages, entertains, and inspires visitors through its extensive displays and immersive experience. MIM is dedicated to preserving, protecting, and sharing musical instruments and music from every country in the world. Music's beauty is expressed through the devoted craftsmanship of musical instrument makers from near and far. Their artistry is on display in open exhibits, allowing for close encounters with instruments both familiar and uncommon. Visitors immerse themselves in the experience through the use of the wireless guide port system, connecting them with the sights and sounds of the instruments on display. Instruments come to life in the magnificently designed MIM Music Theater, a state-of-the-art venue for all types of music. Performers from around the world take audiences on a journey to different lands in an intimate and acoustically superb setting. Global musicians feel at home on MIM stage. A thriving destination for music, the MIM Music Theater is the region's musical passport. In the Artist Gallery,
So a little bit about our galleries. So you've heard that we have global galleries. We showcase 8,000 instruments and objects and music from over 200 countries. And as you saw, we use the audio guide so that guests are able to see and hear the instruments in their original cultural settings. So music and instruments also show us what we have in common, a thought powerfully expressed in our motto, music is the language of the soul. So you can find that in our 5 geographic galleries, in our artist gallery, where you can see and hear music and objects from different icons. I like to say some alive, some dead, and some questionable. So we have Johnny Cash represented, so we know he's dead. We have music and objects represented from Maroon 5, alive, and questionable, Elvis. Elvis is always in the house. So when you come to MIM. And we also have the experience gallery where you can actually try and play some of the instruments from around the world. Currently, we have the Congo masks and music masterpieces from Central Africa. And this is our special exhibition. We extended it through September 2021 because of what's gone on this year. And it's a great example of cultural ceremonies and rituals from a very rich history in Central Africa. The way to explore MIM, and you saw a little bit in that video, is that there are tours and self-guided, and it's very easy to get around the museum. You can see and go to places that you want to go to. It's not, our system is not a stop and go. It's just whenever you step in front of the display, you can see the instruments and hear them. For groups, we have guided tours when right now they're on hold because of health and safety reasons, but once we resume that, and we have guides who take you around for about an hour and then give you an overview of the museum, and then later on you can spend some time independently experiencing the museum. We also have, when it's safe to do so, right now they're on hold temporarily, but VIP behind the scenes tours, and those are for up to 5 people per private tour. And we take you behind backstage, we take you to the collections area or conservation area. In our collections area, we have also about close to 8,000 instruments and objects that are not on display, and we'll rotate them in, some of those, into the galleries. So that's always fun to see and do. And then we have for groups, small groups, kind of a team building event, and that's scavenger hunts. And you get a questionnaire, you go around to all the galleries, and then at the end of the scavenger hunt, we can check the answers, and it's a great way to experience the museum. We're open from 9 to 5 every day, except Thanksgiving Day. It's the only day of the year that we're closed, so it's easy to plan a visit. Right now, I will say we did go to a timed ticketing, just because we're getting into the holiday season, so we want to make sure that it's safe when people come here to visit. We have a museum store, and I'll talk about that in a minute a little bit more. A cafe right now, it has snacks and beverages, so it's a good place to just take a quick break. The MIM Theater, where you can come for our concerts. Parking is free. We are in a location in North Phoenix, so it's easy to get to us from any part of the valley. It's also sometimes I have people who say, oh, they're on the way to heading up north to the rest of the state. Great place to stop on the way, or easy to get to from any of the resorts. Sometimes people ask, how much time should I spend at the museum? An average visit is 3.5 hours. People who really love music and instruments spend easily a whole day here and then say, didn't have enough time, would like to spend more time here. I just had some visitors actually from Sacramento, and they were here for a couple of hours, and as they were leaving, they said to me, you know, just not enough time. So I said, good, come back. We want you back. So it's a great place to visit and spend time. So you saw a little bit and heard a little bit about the MIM theater. And in the theater, last year we had over 200 concerts, and the performers love coming to perform at MIM because of the acoustics. So there isn't a bad seat in the house. We have 300 seats, so easy to see and hear. Right now, for the concerts, if you were going to come to any of our concerts, there is limited seating. Again, we're abiding by the rules and the regulations for safety reasons. But then we always have wonderful performers from around the world, global ceremonies or local performers. And as you know, right now, performers are looking for venues where it is safe to come. It's quite a year for everybody. A little bit about, I mentioned the museum store. This is actually, we're going into a great weekend. So if you want to purchase any gift items for even for people on your holiday list, this weekend, starting tomorrow, we're going to be celebrating our 10th anniversary. And as part of that, we're offering discounts on many of the items and the objects in the museum store. And you can access those on your on the mim.org site and see what we have available. And there are, as a little bit of an idea that you could see here in the image, we have objects from all over the world. We have instruments, we have jewelry, we have, of course, music. So t-shirts, caps, a la this little MIM cap. So you can purchase that. And as I said, this is a great weekend. We have discounts that we're offering. So MIM is the world's only global musical instrument museum. And we are able to say that because there are other musical instrument museums or musical museums. However, they don't have the scope of the instruments and objects that we have available. So we represent the world. I mentioned a moment ago that we're celebrating our 10th anniversary. MIM was started by the vision of one gentleman who had been traveling with his colleagues, and they were in Belgium, and they saw that there was a music instrument museum, and realized, though, the focus was more on just Europe, or there were some instruments from Africa, but our museum has instruments from all over the world. And that was the vision, to share the world with people. Sometimes we're asked, why Phoenix, Arizona? Phoenix is a great destination where people come to Arizona from all over the world. So you have local You have domestic people from the United States. A lot of our Canadian visitors come down here. And then, of course, visitors from around the world. They come to Arizona. They go to the Grand Canyon, and then they stop in Phoenix and come and visit us at MIM. So we're very proud of this museum. It started, as I said, we started with a collection of instruments from private collectors. Then people donate instruments, people loan us our instruments, and some instruments we purchase. So we work with different people from all over the world to fill in and make sure that we represent different instruments. The oldest instrument we have is a goblet drum. It's very small, from China, about 4000 BC, so it gives you an idea. Our instruments are generally not behind glass, but if they are, it's because they are older or there's something special about them that needs that glass around them. Otherwise, you can step up and you can see the instruments, and you feel a little bit more that they, you can't touch them, but just that there's more of that interaction. So if you go on our website, mim.org, we do have some virtual tours that are curators stand in front of some of our displays, talk about those instruments, and you can see that. We also have a list of our events, concert schedules, and of course, if, as you know, museums are reliant on donations and visitor admission. So we certainly appreciate that. So even though you're not in Arizona right now, but any support is appreciated. Let me see a little bit more about our geographic galleries. I just wanted to mention each of our geographic galleries. We do have curators who are specialists in the area and have traveled and talked to donors and people that will loan us instruments as well. So we are always in the search of enhancing this museum. And again, as I said, we're very proud of what we've done, and we're really, in the world of museums, only 10 years old. So to be a top museum in the country and in the world, I think that says a lot about us. So I just wanted to share one more video to give you the idea of how music is the language of the soul, and then take some questions. So let me start that.
Somewhere out there on the farthest rim of the earth, a sound wails into the night. A child is born. People gather round, joy flickering on their faces to welcome the arrival of a new sound, a new life. From our first breath, music is the instrument of the soul. At times, it bellows to frighten away demons. More often, it soothes trembling minds. Its rhythm adds heat to the lover's embrace. It comforts in times of despair. Music is the glue that fastens us together as a sensibility, as a people, as a nation. Music knows neither gender nor creed. It is not bound by either age or income. It satisfies the rich and powerful as perfectly as the common people. Music is our lifelong companion. There is no stopping our ingenuity when it comes to creating the tools for our music. From the first stick struck against a log, we have fashioned instruments to translate what words can never quite express. We piece instruments together from the rarest rosewood and from a cow's bladder. Raw materials are stretched, hollowed, carved, penned, glued, bent, formed, shaped, sewn, whittled, fretted, strung, nailed, and reinforced to the maker's imagining. This raw ingenuity in shaping instruments is found in every peopled place on the planet. It is innate. As if we understand, at some inarticulate level, that if we do not feed the music, some portion of us will starve. The Musical Instrument Museum delights in and pays homage to these amplifiers of human emotion. We have gathered instruments from all parts of mankind in every corner of the world. Some of these instruments look familiar. Some might seem strange. But what is common to each of the more than 10,000 instruments we have collected is their ability to express the language of the soul from dialects around the world, all the more delightful for being heard but not spoken. The names of the instruments themselves are as divine as the voices they speak. Zurna, bouzouki, banjo, flugelhorn, doumbeg, timba, shekere, kanoon, highland pipes, gatam, nai, salmodikan, balafon, gaidchak, and marimba. From the bone rattle to the patented saxophone, from a Baroque harpsichord to the computer, many of these instruments are one of a kind, treasures. Others are more common. Together they make us laugh, tremble, and stand in awe to the pageant of human life. Whether we are Chinese, American, Brazilian, Indian, Egyptian, Mexican, German, or Congolese, these instruments give sound to who we are as individuals and as a group. Our mission at the Musical Instrument Museum is to celebrate music as the sustaining human gift. We honor music, its meaning, and its instruments as the wellspring of global culture. We welcome you to our circle of friends dedicated to fostering understanding and appreciation of cultures and diversity from around the world, to enrich, educate, and entertain through the conservation, preservation, and performance of all styles of music. Come, see, listen. Because if not for music, the soul would have no language, even though we had the ear and the heart to listen.
So as you can see, and as you just heard, music moves you. I don't know if you felt that in the video, but every time I walk around the different galleries and I observe or I talk to our guests just this morning, and someone will say, you know, I looked at that instrument and I haven't seen that since my grandmother played that instrument. And she was, you know, almost in tears. And it just, there are memories that the instruments bring to, and the impact is so strong when you observe people and listen to people. So I'll just share a little bit of a personal story. A little over a year ago, when travel was, you could travel out of the country safely, I took my grandson on a trip. So I do that with my grandchildren, love to travel. And we were getting ready to go to South Africa. So we have this great exhibition in the African Gallery in South Africa. One of the things that you can see as you go around to all our displays is, first of all, the instruments are works of art. And so many of the instruments are made of different materials that are so unique, or that make you think so much about the places they're coming from. So we were standing in front of the display from South Africa, and there's an instrument there. It's a guitar, and it's made of oil cans. So, you know, we're looking at it and thinking about an oil can. Okay, interesting. All right, we're walking around the museum. We left. We headed to South Africa. I should also say that my grandson is learning how to play guitar, loves music. And we get to Cape Town, and we had some free time. First thing he does is he looks up where there are some stores, guitar stores. We found a place not far from our hotel. We head down there, and lo and behold, the gentleman that's in our videos playing the oil can guitar had a little shop. So of course we went in. My grandson immediately pulls one of the guitars, not pulls, but he took one of the guitars and he starts to play. And the gentleman and my grandson, they're jamming away on oil can guitars. What really impressed me though was the story from this gentleman. And he said, you know, when I was a kid, young person, so many of us, we were so too poor to be able to afford to buy instruments. So we had to make instruments out of anything we could find. Happened to be oil cans. So they started with that. And then strings from anything, bicycles, anything that they could find materials. And they made their guitars. Of course, as he grew up and older, he and his colleagues, some other friends, realized, oh, there's an interest in this. And they honed the instrument. And it's a beautiful guitar. Well, and they're all unique, the designs and everything on them. You know, Nana, my grandkids call me Nana. I had to buy the guitar. And there we were, my grandson leaving with this guitar, unique guitar. And as we would just go through the different airports, and they, you know, the staff would open up to see what was in the case, and they go, oh my God, this is so wonderful. So now he has this wonderful guitar that we brought back. And all of that was spurred on because of what we saw in the gallery here in South Africa. So instruments are just, they're beautiful as you go around and you listen to the music, but you also take a close look at those instruments and the carvings and the materials that they're made of and made from. It really does move you. Again, I've had people who've come in who are from different countries, and they'll stand in front of display and they feel so proud of seeing those instruments being displayed and the music that's being, that you can listen, you can actually hear what those instruments sound like. And again, I've had people stand in front of the display crying, good tears, but just so moved by what they've seen. So when you come here, that's why it's so easy to spend hours in front of the displays and looking at the instruments, because you want to see how they're made, hear how they sound. And if you come from a country somewhere else, your history and heritage is represented here. And if you want different types of music from around the United States, our USA section is wonderful in exhibiting the different genres of music. We're also affiliated with the Smithsonian Museum, so you'll see instruments and music that are represented. So it's unique and easy to come and visit. So please, when it's safe to do so, come and visit us. So now I'm just available for questions and answers.
I don't have a question, but I just want to second your invitation. We were in Scottsdale a few years ago with a family vacation. We had 4 generations, 6 grandchildren in their teens and early 20s, our sons and their wives, and my in-laws in their 80s. And we spent 3 to 4 hours there. It was everything you've said and more. It was just phenomenal. The interactive displays, the history, it truly is the soul, the music of the soul. music is the soul of mankind. But yeah, it was incredible. And anybody that has a chance, you've got to visit it. It's fabulous.
I have a question. How many
Yes.
square feet? Your museum looks huge. How many square feet is it?
It's 200,000 square feet. So again, as one woman said this morning, these things just come up. So I'm glad you asked. She said, you know, you really do need to wear comfortable shoes when you come here. Yeah.
What's your main source of revenue?
So we rely on admissions, on donations, grants. We also have programs for students. So a lot of those are and for schools, those we do rely on grants. And currently, just as an FYI, if your community has any schools and they're interested, we've gone to online educational programs. So they're virtual until people can safely come into the museum. But we found that there are other states that are now interested in those programs. So we rely on, as I said, grants, donations, different fundraising that we do, corporate fundraising. Good question. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Anybody else got questions?
Yeah, I have a question. So you've been there for 6 years?
Almost 6 years, yes.
What's your most favorite item?
Oh.
Oil can
Well,
guitar.
actually, when I started here, the one display that I would always go to and then make sure I would take to everybody was a display from Latin America, Paraguay. And it's a display of instruments made, again, from trash found, garbage that was found, and these students couldn't afford to buy instruments, and they made the instruments and then formed an orchestra, and they're called the Recycled Orchestra. And I don't know, I would go there. I would take visitors there. That was always a stop for me. And I would share that with others because of that. So it's fascinating to see all these different instruments and to see young people be so creative.
Thanks.
Now, how many visitors a year do you have at the museum? What, before the pandemic?
Yeah, about 300,000.
Wow.
And we were on a trajectory to go up. So, you know, I think as with other museums around the country, we are trying to be responsive. That's why we have, certainly for the school programs, those are virtual. And we're offering something called creative aging programs for seniors that we're offering now on a virtual basis. There is a fee for it, but we're trying to still get our message out there and and adapt to a new environment, or an environment that we have now, hopefully not for very long, but yeah.
Do
And
most of your instruments have recordings so that you can hear what they sound like?
That's the video. So when you step in front of a display, you'll see the instruments, and then there's a video screen, and the video screen, so that particular culture. So if it's from Germany, so you'll see German musicians playing some of those instruments, and you hear them. So the videos, the way we have it set up, the audio is, if they're not talking heads, it's all about music. And it's the music from that particular country and culture that you're listening to.
So all of the particular exhibit would be in the one video versus individual sounds of instruments.
Correct. Right.
And for your concerts, do you bring in musicians from other countries?
We do that, and again, in a normal situation, we'd have concert, especially now we'd be gearing up our concerts almost one a night. Representing musicians from all over the world, different types of music as well. And so different genres of music.
Do you have any of those online for during COVID?
It's some of the past, yes, some of the past performances you could check on our YouTube site, yes. And you'll see some, maybe not the whole concert, but bits and pieces, but to give you an idea. Thank you, that's a great question. Other questions? Kristen, do you have any questions? Having been kind of in the museum world?
No, I don't have any questions. I just want to say that you did a really wonderful, wonderful presentation. You know, very professional, but very touching at the same time. And I want to come to the museum now for sure.
Good, that's the whole idea. Thank you.
It was very good.
Thank you.
How many people work at the museum, and do you have a lot of volunteers or mostly staff?
More volunteers than staff. Again, we'll talk about in a normal situation, and we would have close to 100 staff and about 400 volunteers. We're very reliant on our volunteers. They're team members, and they love coming here. I mean, even during this time when we haven't called them back yet, but next month we'll start to have some of the volunteers come back. But in the meantime, they've just showed up and wanted to see what's new. We always are adding and enhancing our displays, so they've been by. But yep, we rely on our volunteers.
I have to unmute myself here. We got one comment from one of our members that had to leave early. He said it was very interesting. So Jim Conaway said it was very interesting. So he enjoyed it. So thank you very much for coming. Is there anybody else? Dave, did you raise your hand or were you just scratching your head?
Just scratching my head.
Oh, okay, good,
Oh.
good. Okay, thanks, Dave. Is there
So
anybody?
they're open, are they open right now for visiting during COVID?
Yes, so we opened up during the summer with full safety measures in place. And we've got time tickets just to manage the number of people that are coming in on a daily basis. We ask that visitors observe our state guidelines, which are everybody needs to wear a mask and social distance. We have masks available as soon as you come into the museum for free, of course, so that if somebody forgets. And then the social distancing in Arizona, it's 6 feet apart from strangers. If you're a family coming in, then obviously you stay together. But we are open. We're open from 9 to 5 every day. Thank you for asking that. Yep.
What is the cost of admission? Generally?
So it's $20 per adult, $15 per teen, and then children 4 to 12 are $10. You know, I just want to make sure I'm not telling you. 4 to 12, yes, $10, and then 3 and under are free. We also have, just if any of you have any family members have youngsters, we have a program called Mem Kids, where from 0 to 5 years old, you can join in, and it's a great way for them to start learning how to play instruments and appreciate music. So curator of education leads that. It's a big favorite, and it's online, of course. Any other questions?
It's been a long time since I've been to Phoenix. Probably, I think it was 1967 or something. I took a course there when I worked for GE on computers. And Phoenix was a lot smaller than that. What is the overall population of the metropolitan Phoenix area? Do you know? I mean, what do you draw from?
About 1 million. And you know, when you were here, you know, you probably said Phoenix and you think maybe Scottsdale, you know, the Sun Valley, right? Kind of the sun area, or Valley of the Sun, it was called. So, but now we've grown so much. So the valley is kind of expanded east and west, and you have all these other communities now.
What percentage of your patrons are local as opposed to, you know, visitors?
The
You know?
higher percentage are local, especially now, of course.
Sure.
And then we had regional visitors, people who would come visiting friends or here for conferences. And then we have international. During the winter, of course, I don't know what this winter will be like. We have a lot of Canadian visitors or visitors from snowy or colder areas of the US. So we call them our snowbirds, and they'll come down, for 4 or 5 months just to spend here.
Most people come from the northern areas of the country and come to the south in the winter months, but others migrate in the opposite direction. But you know. Anyway, well, all right. Does anybody else have any questions? I don't want to cut anybody off. Okay, seeing no hands and hearing nothing, I would like to thank you very much, Ida Jones, for the presentation. It was wonderful. I really enjoyed seeing the museum and learning about it. It was pretty exciting. I certainly never knew it existed. And once again, Richard Rubin, our director of programs here, has done an excellent job of getting a fine speaker, and really enjoyed your presentation. And I welcome also the guests that managed to come, the extended Calvert family. So it was nice to have you all here. Anyway, unless anybody has any more announcements, I'm going to gong the bell and call the meeting. Oh, wait a minute. Here we go. James Haas.
And great presentation. I've never heard of the museum, so that was very interesting. So I'll make it out there when I am in Phoenix for sure. A question about the Mem Kids Program. So you said that was online. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay,
so
and then
if
how
you,
does registration, is it just the mim.org and you can find it on there and register that way?
and look for Mem Kids and you'll see the information, yes. And it's just a couple of dollars, I think, to participate, so.
That's great. Do you guys work with any like school districts or anything from like a Mem Kids perspective, or?
School districts, not from up to 5, but from 5, you know, for school age, yes.
Okay.
We do. If you go again to our mim.org on the top, and you'll see education, and you can find what we're offering virtually, and then how to get in touch with us. And we have, the number keeps changing daily. We have so many schools from different states and even a few countries that have now joined in because and the program, and it's geared to different age groups, different school age groups.
Yeah, I'll look
So,
at it.
great.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thanks, James. Thanks, Ida. Appreciate that.
And remind people of some upcoming programs.
Yes, please, Richard.
So next week we will go down to San Diego and visit the USS Midway Museum. On November 19th, Helen Anderson will be doing a program on the Bolivia X-ray global granting. December 3rd will be Mark Elliott doing Student of the Quarter. And December 17th is the American Red Cross Disaster Preparedness Program. And we'll be off on Thursday, the 26th, I believe, for Thanksgiving. There's no program on that day.
Okay, thank you, Richard. By the way, I think we have a board meeting next week. You never can remember whether Monday or Tuesday.
Tuesday.
Tuesday?
Tuesday.
Tuesday. Okay, so that would be the 10th.
Time.
Right?
What time?
What time? 5:30-ish.
Are you going to send us the
5.
information on it? So we
5.
can join if we want to.
Yes, Gary will send out a blast to everybody that wants to join our board meetings and put in your 2 cents worth or listen to our 2 cents worth.
I want to put in 4 cents, so make sure you send me twice.
We'll have to take a check on that, Dave. We
By the
don't deal
way,
in large cash amounts.
I definitely wanted to ask a question that you wanted to ask, but we're embarrassed. Since she's from Arizona, she could tell us who possibly would win Arizona for the president.
I can
Yeah.
tell you,
Who's our meeting today?
I could tell you who I want, but I'm not political here, so.
It was a joke. I
Yes.
know how our president feels about these things. I've stopped commenting.
I have not said a word one way or the other.
You're a good boy. We'll keep you for
Thank
the
you.
rest
Thank
of
you.
the year. We're not going to impeach you.
All right, James, did you have something more you wanted to add?
No, I was just saying, thank you so much. That was a great presentation.
It was indeed. Thank you very much. All right, I'm
Thank
going to
you.
sound the bell and end the meeting. Thank you all for coming, and I'll see you next week. Same bat.